let me get this straight. Indiana Jones versus Hannibal Lecter, Le Chiffre, and Gellert Grindelwald. You think I'd dig that? But this ain't what I call archaeology. Here we go again. Hello, my fellow YouTubers and subscribers. Welcome to my rant on Indiana and his old bag of bones. Okay, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Released in 2023, 15 years after Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Yep. Just when we thought the series had ended with the fourth movie, which, nobody liked, we get this. Directed by James Mangold this time, not directed by Steven Spielberg. He has bowed out of the director's chair, and I think I know why. And the movie stars Harrison Ford in his fifth and final appearance as Indiana Jones. Archaeologist Indiana Jones races against time to retrieve a legendary artifact that can change the course of history. In other words, his goddaughter called Helena turns up and asks for his help to go and look for the Dial of Destiny, which her father, played by Toby Jones, was looking for in the past. And together the two of them go against Mads Mikkelsen, who plays a Nazi, and they race against time to find the Dial of Destiny and stop Mads Mikkelsen from doing what he's going to do. I won't say what it is just yet. Before I go any further, I would just like to say there will be spoilers in this rant. I am going to spoil this movie, so if you haven't seen the movie, then please click away now and come back later. You can stay if you have seen the movie, or if you just don't give a shit about spoilers, then that's up to you. So, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Nobody thought Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was the best Indiana Jones movie, so God knows why we needed another one. But now that Disney owned the franchise and owned Lucasfilm, they thought, why not? Let's do another one. And Harrison Ford was very keen to do a fifth movie, despite the fact that this movie was pretty in development hell for such a long time, and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull did not do very well when it came out, critically. Financially, it did alright, but critically, no. And I was always apprehensive about Indiana Jones 5. I did a video talking about this a few years ago during the lockdown, when they announced that Indiana Jones 5 was going ahead, and there was obviously delays in the production, but Harrison had signed on to do it. I'd always expressed my concerns that there's no way this is going to work. He was too old in the fourth movie, he's going to be way too old in this movie, and I don't want to say I was right, but I was right. Indiana and his old bag of bones. This movie was a mess. I'm sorry, I did not enjoy this film. This is easily the worst Indiana Jones movie. Yes, worse than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Not everybody is going to agree with me, I know that, but what I just saw was absolutely diabolical. It was such a disappointment. My expectations were low, to be fair, and, well, they were met. But I really thought this movie was going to try to surprise me. It turns out that Dial of Destiny is nothing more than what we've already seen before. This is the same movie all over again. The fact that we have the Nazis back for the third time in this series, and there's only 5 movies, and this is the third time we've had them back. I mean, for goodness sake, come up with something more original. It's just such a lazy recycle. Why? And yes, Harrison Ford is too old to play this character. I don't think this is his best performance as the character either. I feel like he gives so much more energy in his other films because he's younger. Even in Crystal Skull, he gives a more refreshing performance. Here, he's playing a sort of grumpy Indiana Jones. He's a bit fed up at the start of the movie, and he's trying to find his place in life because certain things have happened in his personal life, such as Marion and him getting divorced. I was really surprised about that at first, given the way that Crystal Skull ended. This movie begins with him looking at his fridge and seeing a picture of him and Marion, and he covers the picture, and then we see a sign for divorce. What a total waste. Crystal Skull was going to end with them getting married. What was the point of even doing that now? If if Dial of Destiny was going to retcon that. Thankfully, there is a reason later on which does explain this. It turns out that Shia LaBeouf's character, Mutt Williams, has actually been killed off screen. Yeah, they wrote out Mutt. They said he went to enlist in the war, and he got killed. Which, to be honest, I didn't expect. I was just expecting them to just kind of say, oh, he's away somewhere, or he's off, or he was going to appear in a cameo. I was expecting that. So I was quite surprised to see that that wasn't going to be the case, and that's what broke Indy and Marion up. And it makes sense, but it was a little jarring, I must admit, to hear that. I mean, there are good things in this movie, like the fan service is nice, like Marion's appearance at the end is lovely, and they do kind of reprise a bit of their scene in Raiders where he kisses her arm, you know, that's quite nice. That's a nice callback. John Rhys-Davies returns as Sala for a cameo, which is appreciated. I do like that. And of course, John Williams' score is fantastic, and the score is very nostalgic as well. It has themes from the first 3 movies, and I think even the 4th as well. But the rest of this movie is awful. Mads Mikkelsen as Voller, Jürgen Voller, I think his name is. It's just such a boring villain. Again, all the Indiana Jones villains are just boring. None of them have any personality, and this is no exception. You know, Mads Mikkelsen, he's so much better than this. He's played other villains before, but he was phoning it in this time. He was just doing the same thing that he always does, with no personality. This character's motivations are utterly ridiculous, and it gets very convoluted towards the end when we find out that he wants to go back in time to kill the Führer. But yet he's a Nazi, and he wants to basically change the course of history and change the course of the war for reasons that are unexplained. It's a total mess, and it makes no sense. What is this obsession with sci-fi? Ever since Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, they decided we're going to do sci-fi. We had aliens in the last film. Now we have time travel in this film. What the hell is the obsession? Why do they do this? This whole idea about the Dial of Destiny going back in time to when the Romans were around and when the guy created the dial, you know, why? What is it for? What is the purpose of this? I don't understand what the significance of this is. And it's just so far-fetched. This is not Indiana Jones. This sort of thing should not be in an Indiana Jones movie. The whole idea of it going back in time, I mean, what the hell? And then they tease you with Indy's death. He gets shot by Voller, and then Helena tries to convince him to go back to the present day, and he's not having any of it. He's like, I want to stay here and see history, as, you know, it's what I've been fascinated by all this time. I mean, okay, fine, I can see what they're going for here, and I really thought they were going to kill him, but then it turns out she knocks him unconscious and brings him back, and then, of course, that's where the scene with Marion comes in. It's just absolutely ridiculous, and I'm not saying the aliens weren't ridiculous in the 4th movie, but this is just as ridiculous. Again, they're scraping the bottom of the barrel trying to find ideas for this, and it's just not working for me. I will admit, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is good as Helena Shaw. She's one of the good things about the movie, and she has a lot of quirky substance, and, you know, she has a good personality. By the end of the film, the door is certainly left open, so if they were to continue with her character in a future film or whatever, they could do that. I just didn't think her and Indy had much of a chemistry. Like, he's supposed to be her godfather, but they don't seem that close, and she just kind of seems to want to kind of be in it for herself and be in it for the money, as she says. And I guess maybe that's her character journey, is that she feels that she does care about him and she does want to see him live by the end, but the whole thing is a mess. Also, Antonio Banderas is in the movie for like 5 minutes. Why is he in the movie? His role was to just transport them somewhere. You know, they could have had John Rhys-Davies' character, Sala, be the guy that did that, you know, but whatever. The action of this film is terrible. The action does nothing for me, apart from the opening, but I'll get to that later. All the action, again, it has the same problem that Crystal Skull had. Indy doesn't get to do enough action. He doesn't get to do any great stunts, and because of his age, they have had to compensate with the action sequences. They've had to make him drive more than, or ride a horse, more than him actually kicking the shit out of someone. Very few times does he actually do that in this film. He barely swings any punches. And this is the first movie where Indy gets captured, and the sidekicks have to go and save him. It's ridiculous. That's what I meant when I said Harrison Ford is just way too old to play this character now. I'm sorry. I get that he cares about it, and I get that he's passionate about it. But Harrison, you should have stopped at the 3rd one. Because let's face it, even in Crystal Skull he was getting too old. But this is ridiculous, and I just don't buy this 80-year-old pensioner, you know, as this adventurer. It's just ridiculous. It really is, and I can't take it seriously. And the movie bored me because of that. Because the action did nothing for me. It was weightless. The movie just bored me. This film is way too long. It's 2.5 hours. Why is it so long? It doesn't need to be that long. I'm sorry, James Mangold's direction, very messy. Very messy indeed. tries to capture the essence of the original trilogy, and it does that in some regards with the opening. But as for the rest of the movie, it's just a total drag. It's such a bore to sit through that you neither know nor care what happens and who goes back in time to what place. It's all a mess. The opening scene is the best part of the film, easily. The opening, like, 15-20 minutes with the Nazis in Germany and on the train with Toby Jones, that was awesome. I really enjoyed that. That was really good. And that was exciting. And yes, the de-aging for Harrison Ford is impressive. Heck, I would have seen a whole movie about that. I think maybe stretch that into a whole film. That would have been more interesting than the rest of this film, because the action there was really cool, and I actually quite liked it. And of course, I can't talk about this film without talking about John Williams. His music is good. It's not his best score of the series. It certainly feels a little bit tired in places, but the themes he comes up with are good, and the reuse of other themes is nice as well. Toby Jones and Boyd Hollbrook are good ensemble characters. They do what they can in this film. I just didn't really find the movie that funny either. I just didn't think the script was that witty. Again, this movie feels like Harrison Ford, a tired old bag of bones, trudging its way through this 2.5 hour mess. And it's so disappointing. It really is. I'm not even a hardcore fan of the series. I'm a fan, but not greatly. Hardcore fans, I don't think, are going to be that impressed. They might like it, but they may not love it. This is, to me, one of the most unoriginal sequels in the series. It just rehashes the same elements, like the Nazis and all of that, and then it tries to go fantastical like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, so there's no middle ground. It doesn't feel... The story is so badly constructed. It's just messy. It's a total mess. They left it way too late to make Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and then they left it way too late to make this movie. The Dial of Destiny is... It's a mess. It's a terrible mess of a film. And I'm so sorry to say that, because I wanted to like it, and I do love Harrison Ford as this character. He really is good in this role, and he will be missed, that's for sure. But this movie did not need to happen. Indiana Jones felt complete as a trilogy. It really feels like Last Crusade is the ending of this series. I give a pass to the ending of the fourth one because at least Indy had Marion and he had his son Mutt, so he still had a family. But Dial of Destiny's ending, well, it's bittersweet. It's just like, okay, that's it. You can't do any more. This movie was a total waste of time, and it didn't need to happen. There are minor things in it that I like, but I don't know if I'd ever revisit it, to be honest. Partly because it's so long, and partly because it's just tired. It's just really tired, and clearly Disney wanted Harrison to make it for the cash, and Harrison wanted to make it to say goodbye. I mean, if his intention was to end the series on a slightly more bittersweet note than Crystal Skull, then fine. But to be perfectly honest, I actually prefer Kingdom of the Crystal Skull to this movie because of the pacing. So, at the end of the day, guys, Indiana and his old bag of bones, all I can do is say that I was really, really disappointed. And I wasn't surprised because I wasn't looking forward to it. But my final rating for The Dial of Destiny, 3 out of 10. Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's just the way I feel about it. But if you like the movie, that's great. Let me know why in the comments down below. And if you have seen the movie, please don't spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. Let them experience it for themselves, and then they can... Not that there's much to spoil, but you know, so they can make their own judgments. Anyway, that's my rant on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. What do you think of this film? Please comment down below. Let me know. Hit the like and subscribe button for more content in the future. And stay tuned when I do my ranking of the Indiana Jones movies. Not that it's going to be an unpredictable list, but there we are. And just before I go, I want to say a quick farewell to Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, because he really did bring a lot to this character. What he's done for it has been amazing. Despite the quality of the movies not being sufficient, he's tried his best to bring everything he can to it in all 5 of the movies that he's been in. But, so I just want to quickly tip my hat to Harrison Ford. Harrison, thank you very much. So stay tuned for my ranking of the Indiana Jones films, and until next time, I'm Pajak's Perspective. See ya. Bye for now.